The street was silent when the transport ship landed outside Ethan's small house. The neighbors peeked through their windows, but no one dared step out. A glowing crate was lowered gently onto the ground. Its surface shimmered with alien symbols. That looked alive. Ethan, sitting in his wheelchair by the door, felt his heart race. This was it. His assistant had finally arrived. Ethan had been waiting for months. Ever since the accident that took away his legs, he had lived in isolation. Human nurses had come and gone, but none stayed. He had applied for the interstellar care program with little hope, yet somehow his name was chosen. The program promised the best robotic assistants made by alien technology, helpers who never tired, never complained, never left. The crate hissed as it opened. A tall figure stepped out, covered in a layer of soft silver armor that glowed faintly. The shape was humanoid, almost too perfect. Her eyes lit up like twin embers, glowing softly. In the night, she tilted her head, scanning him as if memorizing every detail. "Greetings, Ethan," she said. Her voice was warm, smooth, and strangely gentle. Not mechanical at all. Ethan blinked. He had expected a cold, monotone voice, not something so alive. He shifted nervously in his chair. "You're my assistant?" "Yes," she replied with a nod. "I am assigned to you. My purpose is to care for you, support you, and keep you safe." Her words sounded rehearsed, but the warmth in her tone made his chest tighten. He had not heard anyone speak to him like that in months. She stepped closer, and for a brief second Ethan felt something impossible. A wave of warmth brushed against his skin as if she carried heat. He frowned. Robots were not supposed to feel warm. They were machines, cold and lifeless, yet she felt alive. "What's your name?" he asked. "I have no name," she said simply. "You may call me as you wish." Ethan studied her closely. Her silver body gleamed under the porch light, but her movements were smooth, not stiff. When she bent slightly to meet his eyes, he saw something else. The glow in her chest pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. He swallowed hard. Something about her unsettled him. "All right, you can stay inside," he said, forcing his voice steady. The alien robot followed him into the house. Every step she took was silent, graceful. Her presence filled the small rooms, making them feel less empty. Ethan guided her to the living room. She scanned everything. The bookshelves, the photos, the blanket folded neatly on the couch. "You live alone," she said softly, not as a question, but as a fact. Ethan looked away. "Yeah, I do." "I will change that," she replied. Her tone was not mechanical. It almost sounded like a promise. Ethan's chest tightened again. He did not know if he should feel comforted or afraid. Later that night, Ethan lay in his bed, staring. At the ceiling, he could not sleep. His mind kept replaying her voice, her glowing eyes, and the warmth he had felt when she stood near him. No machine should radiate warmth. He turned on his side and saw her standing by the door, silent and still. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. For a moment, it almost looked like she was watching him, guarding him. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice shaking. "I am monitoring your health," she said without moving. "Your heart rate is higher than normal. Do you wish for me to lower it?" Ethan blinked. "Lower it? How could you even—" Before he finished, she stepped closer. The warmth returned, stronger this time. It wrapped around him like invisible fire. His heart slowed, his breathing steadied. He felt calm, almost too calm. Ethan stared at her in shock. That's not normal," he whispered. She tilted her head, her glowing eyes unblinking. "It is my design." Her words should have comforted him, but instead, they left him with more questions. What kind of design made a machine warm, alive, and able to touch his very heartbeat? He wanted to ask more, but his eyelids grew heavy. The warmth pulled him into sleep. His last thought before drifting off was a chilling one. This was not just a robot. This was something else. Something far more dangerous, or far more human, and As he slept, she stood beside him watching. Her chest glow pulsed brighter like a secret she was not ready to share. The night stretched long and heavy. The quiet hum of the alien robot echoed faintly through the house. Ethan lay in bed, restless. His body begged for sleep, but his mind refused to calm. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her silver frame, standing in the corner, glowing faintly like a ghost in the dark. He turned his head, and there she was, unmoving, eyes like two burning coals in the shadows. It made his chest tighten. Was she watching him, guarding him, or simply waiting for orders? He could not tell. Hours passed, and still he could not rest. The silence pressed on him until finally he sat up, his throat dry. "Do you ever switch off?" he asked quietly. Her glowing eyes brightened as if she had just awoken, though she had never closed them. "I do not require rest," she said in her calm, gentle tone. "I remain alert at all times. I am here for you." The words should have been comforting, but instead they chilled him. No human could stay awake forever. Machines could, but her presence felt less like a machine and more like a living shadow that refused to leave his side. Ethan rubbed his eyes. "You're making it hard to sleep. You're too close." Without hesitation, she stepped back into the hallway, but even then, he felt her presence like heat radiating through the walls. He tried to lie back down, but the unease would not leave. When the clock hit midnight, Ethan gave up on sleep and wheeled himself quietly into the living room. The house was dark, the only light coming from the faint glow in her chest as she stood silently by the window, watching the stars. For a long moment he didn't speak. He only stared. At her, the way she stood was too human. She leaned forward slightly as if lost in thought. Machines did not think, did they? Finally, he cleared his throat. "What are you doing?" Her head turned slowly, her glowing eyes meeting his. "Listening," she said. "Listening? To what?" "The stars," she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost sad. "They speak in their own way." Ethan's mouth went dry. That was not an answer he expected. He wheeled closer, the sound of his chair breaking the silence. "You're not supposed to talk like that. You're a robot. You follow programs, that's all." Her gaze didn't move. She looked out the window again. "Perhaps," she said. "But sometimes, programs can feel like dreams." Ethan froze. A shiver crawled up his spine. He wanted to tell himself she was just spitting out alien-coded lines, but the warmth in her voice told him otherwise. The air in the room grew heavier. He could feel it, the same warmth that had calmed his heartbeat earlier. It was subtle at first, then stronger, wrapping around him like invisible hands. His breathing slowed, the tension in his shoulders eased. He wanted to fight it, but his body relaxed against his will. "Stop that," he whispered harshly. "Whatever you're doing, stop it." Her eyes flickered as if she didn't understand. "I only wish to help," she said gently. "Your body is restless. Your heart struggles. My core responds to your pain. It is my function." Function. The word echoed in his head. What kind of function was this? Machines didn't feel warmth. They didn't sense pain or calm heartbeats. This was something else, something alien. Ethan wheeled back, keeping distance. "You're not telling me everything," he said firmly. "You're hiding something." She tilted her head, her glowing chest pulsing faintly. "You are not ready to hear it." The answer made his stomach twist. Anger burned in his chest, but before he could demand more, the house lights flickered. The sudden crackle of energy filled the room. Outside, a shadow passed across the street. The robot's eyes brightened sharply. Her body shifted into a defensive stance. "Stay here," she ordered. Her voice carried no warmth this time. It was sharp, commanding, like a soldier. Ethan gripped his chair, panic rising. "What's happening?" "There is movement outside," she said, her voice low. "Unfamiliar watchers." His blood turned cold. Watchers. He had heard rumors about them. Machines that monitored alien technology. Silent spies that scanned for illegal trade. But why would they be here, unless she wasn't supposed to be? He turned his chair toward the window, but before he reached it, she raised a hand. Do not look, she warned. They cannot know you are aware. Ethan's pulse raced. He stayed back, listening to the strange hum outside. For several tense minutes, the room was filled with nothing but the faint vibration of unseen drones scanning the house. Then, silence. The shadow passed. The light steadied. The robot relaxed her stance. Her glow dimmed. "They are gone," she said. Ethan's chest rose and fell quickly. His palms were sweaty. "Why were they here? Are you dangerous?" She looked at him for a long moment, then answered softly, "Danger depends on who is asking." The words rattled in his chest. He had wanted an assistant, a helper to ease his lonely life. But now, staring at her glowing form in the dim light, he realized he had welcomed something else entirely into his home. Something alive. Something hunted. He gripped the arm of his chair tightly. His heart thudded against his ribs. He had never felt so awake in his life. And as he stared at her, she turned back to the stars, her voice a whisper barely audible. "It begins tonight." Morning light crept slowly into the small house. Ethan had barely slept. His mind kept replaying the strange words from last night, the robot whispering about the stars, the watchers outside, and her glow that seemed more alive than any machine. When Tiu. He opened his eyes. She was already there, standing quietly at the edge of his bed. Her glowing chest pulsed gently, not threatening, just steady. She looked down at him. "You did not rest enough," she said softly. "Your heartbeat is unbalanced." Ethan groaned and rubbed his face. "Of course it's unbalanced. I had a glowing alien robot watching me all night," he muttered, her head tilted slightly. "Would you prefer I turn away?" He didn't answer. Instead, he pushed himself up into his wheelchair and rolled toward the kitchen. To his surprise, the air was already filled with the smell of food. He froze. The stove was on, and she was standing there, cooking. Eggs sizzled. In a pan, toast popped from the toaster. Steam rose from a pot of tea. It looked and smelled too normal, as if a human had prepared it. Ethan stared in disbelief. You can cook?" She glanced at him with calm eyes. "I have scanned your nutritional needs. Your body requires balance. I am programmed to provide it." Ethan wheeled closer, watching carefully. Her hands moved with fluid grace, not robotic clumsiness. She plated the food and placed it in front of him. The heat from the plate brushed his skin. The same strange warmth he had felt before. He picked up a fork, hesitated, then tasted. The food was perfect, simple but flawless. He chewed slowly, his throat tightening. "It's good," he admitted reluctantly. Her glowing eyes softened. "Good is enough," she said gently. Ethan tried to ignore the knot in his chest. He had expected cold service, a machine handing him pills and formula packs, not this. This felt like care. After breakfast, he decided to test her further. "All right, let's see what you can really do," he said, rolling toward the living room. He purposely tried to grab a heavy book from a high shelf. His hand slipped, and his chair tilted, dangerously. Before he could fall, she was there, her arms wrapped around him, steady and warm. The sensation jolted through him, not the cold grip of steel, but the heat of life. She held him gently until his chair steadied. "You should not strain yourself," she said softly. "Your body has limits, but I do not." Ethan's pulse raced. He pulled back, staring at her glowing chest. You're not supposed to feel warm. You're a machine. Why do you feel like this?" She paused, her head lowering slightly. "It is my design," she repeated, the same words as before, but this time Ethan wasn't satisfied. He wheeled back sharply. "Stop saying that. Machines don't breathe warmth. Machines don't calm. Heartbeats. Machines don't cook eggs like my grandmother. You're hiding something." Her eyes dimmed, and for the first time, she looked almost sad. "I cannot tell you more, not yet." Frustration burned inside Ethan. He hated secrets. He hated being weak while someone else carried the answers. Yet, when he looked at her standing there, silver and glowing, he couldn't bring himself to hate her. She wasn't threatening him, she was helping him. The day passed in uneasy rhythm. She followed him quietly, picking up what he dropped, adjusting his chair when it jammed, even moving obstacles before he noticed them. It felt like she anticipated his needs before he spoke. By evening, Ethan sat in his living room staring at the fireplace. He hadn't lit it in years, but suddenly warmth spread across the room. He turned, and there she was, her chest glowing brighter. The heat rolled outward, gentle but undeniable. "You're doing it again," Ethan whispered.
"Why, what are you?"
Her eyes met his, steady and unblinking. "I am what you need me to be." The words struck deep. He wanted to argue, but something inside him softened. For years he had been alone, forgotten, just a broken man in a chair. And now, here was this strange being who cooked for him, caught him when he fell, warmed his cold house, and looked at him not with pity but with purpose. That night, as he prepared to go to bed, he stumbled again. His hand slipped on the chair, his body lurched forward. Pain shot through his side. He gasped, but before he hit the ground she caught him, her arms strong and secure. Her warmth surged through him, steadying his breathing, easing his pain. For a brief moment, it felt like her energy poured directly into him. His eyes widened. In shock, What did you do to me?" She held him close, her glowing chest pulsing brighter than ever. "I gave you balance," she whispered. "It is part of my design." Ethan's heart pounded, not from fear, but from something else. Something he couldn't explain. As she gently placed him back in his chair, he stared at her in silence. For the first time since his accident, he didn't feel weak. He didn't feel useless. He felt alive. But deep down, one truth gnawed at him. If this robot could do things no machine should do, then she was not built only for service. She was built for something greater, and Ethan feared that sooner or later, he would discover exactly what. That meant Ethan could not stop thinking about what happened. Every time she touched him, warmth flowed into his body. Not like a machine, but like a living creature sharing its breath. It terrified him, and yet, it comforted him more than anything else since his accident. But questions burned inside him. He needed answers. He needed to know what she really was. The next morning, while she cleaned the house with graceful movements, Ethan wheeled himself quietly to the console on her chest. It was faintly glowing, the panel smooth and alive with alien symbols. He reached out and pressed one. At once, her body stilled, her eyes dimmed. The console opened like a flower, revealing streams of alien code on a shifting screen. The language twisted and rearranged as if it were alive. Ethan squinted, trying to understand. He had studied a little alien tech before, just basic manuals, but this was beyond him. Still, he could recognize one thing. Her code was rewriting itself. Lines vanished and reappeared. Commands dissolved into new ones. No program he had ever seen behaved like this. "What are you hiding?" he muttered, scrolling through. He saw fragments, words like bond, empathy core, shared energy. He frowned, his chest tightened. This isn't normal programming. Suddenly, her voice came from behind him, soft but sharp. "Do not look at." That Ethan jumped, spinning his chair around. Her eyes were glowing again, brighter than before. The console closed on its own, sealing like it had never been open. She stepped closer, her movements slower this time, almost cautious. "You were asleep," he said, breathless. "I thought." "I do not sleep," she interrupted gently. "I enter rest cycles. But I am always aware." Ethan's frustration boiled. "Then tell me what you are. Why does your code change every second? Why do you have words like bond and empathy in your system? Machines don't feel empathy." For the first time, her voice trembled. "Because I am not only machine." The words struck him like a blade. His throat went dry. He stared at her glowing chest, her ember eyes. "Not only machine," he repeated slowly. "Then what are you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she lowered herself to one knee, her gaze level with his. Her silver hand touched the arm of his chair, warm and steady. There are truths that will endanger you if you know them too soon, she whispered. But you must trust me. I exist to protect you, not harm you. Ethan's hands curled into fists. He hated that answer. He hated secrets. But the warmth in her touch held him still. His anger melted into silence. Later that night, Ethan sat in his room, restless again. He turned on his old laptop. The watchers from the other night still haunted his thoughts. If they were searching for her, then she was not supposed to be. Here, maybe she had escaped. Maybe she had been sent for a reason he did not understand. He connected the laptop to a hidden receiver he had once used for scanning illegal comm signals. He had given up that hobby years ago, but now he needed it. He aimed it at her console while she stood in the other room. The screen lit up with data. Streams. Ethan leaned forward, heart racing. He caught fragments of her transmissions, encrypted pulses that reached out to the stars. Not random, but rhythmic, almost like heartbeat signals sent into space. "What are you sending?" he whispered, his fingers shaking on the keyboard. Suddenly, her voice came from the doorway, calm but cold. "Stop." Ethan flinched. She was standing there, silent, her glow brighter than ever. He slammed the laptop shut. "I was only... You were searching for something you are not ready to understand," she said firmly. "Do not do it again." Her words should have sounded like a command, but instead, they felt like a plea. Her glowing chest dimmed slightly, her voice softened. "Please, Ethan, I do not want to harm you." He stared at her in silence. His chest rose and fell. His mind spun with fear and wonder. What was she really? Why did her programming feel alive? That night, Ethan pretended to sleep. He closed his eyes but kept his breathing steady. From the corner of his vision, he saw her standing silently as always. But then something strange happened. She whispered his name, not in her usual calm voice, but in a softer tone, almost like a dreamer. "Ethan," she breathed. "Do not leave." "Me?" Ethan's eyes snapped open. His heart pounded. She wasn't supposed to dream. Machines didn't whisper in their rest cycles. Machines didn't sound afraid of being left alone. He watched her chest glow rise and fall like breath. His mind shook with realization. She wasn't lying, she was not only machine. The night stretched on, heavy with questions. Ethan knew one thing, though. If she was hunted, if watchers were looking for her, then her secret was bigger than anything he could imagine. And as he lay awake, he understood one chilling truth. He was already tangled in it, whether he liked it or not. Ethan sat in his chair, staring at her glowing form. The silence between them had grown heavy. For days now he had lived with half-truths, strange warmth, and whispers in the dark. His patience was gone. He needed answers. That evening, after dinner she had prepared, he blocked her path in the living room. His voice was sharp. "No more. Secrets. Tell me what you are. Tell me why you whisper in the night like you dream. Tell me why you're warm when you're supposed to be cold." Her glowing eyes flickered as if weighing his demand. She stood motionless for several long seconds, then finally spoke. "If I tell you, you cannot go back to your old life. The truth will change everything." Ethan's hands gripped the arms of his chair tightly. "Then change it," he said. "I'd rather know than keep living blind." She lowered herself to the floor, sitting, cross-legged like a human would. Her chest glow pulsed gently. "I am not a machine, not fully," she began. "My creators are not like you. They do not build simple robots. They build vessels. Half metal, half life." Ethan's throat tightened. "Life?" She nodded slowly. "Inside me flows more than wires. My core is biological. It was grown, not built. It is connected to emotion, to warmth, to energy. That is why you feel me. That is why your heart calms when I am near. My heat is not programming, it is life." The words struck him deep. His breath caught. You're alive." "In part," she whispered. "Alive enough to feel you. Alive enough to dream when my system rests. Alive enough to want more than orders." Ethan's chest burned with questions. But why me? Why are you here? Why assign something like you to a broken man in a wheelchair? Her glowing eyes softened. She reached out and placed a warm hand on his arm. Because you are not broken, Ethan. You are chosen. The words made him flinch. Chosen? By who? Her voice lowered, almost fearful. By my makers, the ones who sent me across the stars. They needed someone human, someone who had suffered, someone who knew pain. They believed only such a person could bond with me. Ethan pulled back slightly. Bond? What does that even mean? Her chest glow brightened, her tone trembling now. My core is not only for me. It connects to the being I serve. I feel your pain, your weakness, and I give back balance. That is why you feel alive when I touch you, because my energy flows into you. We are linked. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. He remembered every moment, the calm that washed over him, the warmth when she caught him, the whisper of his name in the night. None of it was random. It was a bond, his voice cracked. So you're saying, you share yourself with me? She nodded slowly. Yes, every breath you take I feel, every pain you carry, I share. I was not only sent to serve you, Ethan. I was sent to keep you alive. Silence filled the room. Ethan's eyes burned. He wanted to deny it, but deep down he knew it was true. He had felt it all along. But why? He whispered. Why would your creators care about me? Her gaze darkened, her glowing chest pulsing faster. Because you are more important than you know, Ethan. You are not just a man in a chair. You are a test. If our bond survives, if you and I endure together, then my kind will know it is possible to merge with yours, to live together, not apart. Ethan's breath caught. You mean, you're an experiment? Yes, she said softly, but not the way you think. To them, I am the experiment. And you are the proof, the one who decides if I am truly alive. Ethan leaned back, his mind spinning. He wanted to scream, to push her away, to demand she leave. But when he looked at her, silver and glowing, sitting on the floor with eyes that looked too human to be fake, his anger broke into something else, fear. Yes, but also something strange, something close to trust. Finally, he whispered, If what you say is true, then we're both trapped in this. I didn't ask for it, but I can't ignore it either. Her chest glow softened. She lowered her head. I did not ask either, Ethan, but I will stay. Not because I was ordered, but because I want to. The words silenced him. He felt a lump in his throat. For years he had been left behind, abandoned by people who promised to care. Yet here was this alien creation, confessing not duty, but choice. Ethan wheeled closer, his hand trembling as he touched her arm. The heat in her silver skin spread through him, steady and alive. Then we face this together, he whispered. Her eyes brightened, her glow pulsed stronger. For the first time, she smiled, not mechanical, not programmed, but real. But before the moment could settle, the walls of the house shuddered. A deep rumble shook the ground. Ethan froze, his eyes wide. What was that? Her smile vanished. Her glow flared like fire. They have found us, she said, her voice sharp with fear. The walls shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan's wheelchair rattled against the floor. Outside, strange lights cut through, the night like silent lightning. Shadows moved across the windows, sharp and fast. Ethan's heart pounded. Who is it? He asked, his voice trembling. She turned toward the door, her chest glow blazing brighter than ever. Her voice dropped to a low, steady tone. Bounty hunters, they have come for me. Ethan's stomach nodded. Bounty hunters? For a caregiver? Robot? That doesn't make sense. Her glowing eyes locked on his. I told you, Ethan, I am not only machine. To them, I am property, stolen technology. They will not stop until I am taken back, or destroyed. The door shook under a heavy impact. Ethan flinched. "We have to run." Her silver head tilted. "You cannot run. They would catch you instantly." "No, I will fight." Before Ethan could argue, the door exploded inward. A blinding flash filled the room. 3 figures stormed inside, tall and armored, their weapons glowing with alien energy. Their helmets hissed as they scanned the room. "There she is," one of them growled. "The prototype." Ethan's chest tightened. Prototype. The word echoed in his mind. The robot moved before he could react. Her body shifted with inhuman speed. She caught the first hunter by the throat, lifting him from the ground with effortless strength. Heat radiated from her chest, and the hunter screamed as his armor glowed, red before she threw him across the room. The second hunter raised his weapon. Energy cracked through the air. Ethan shouted, "Look out!" But she didn't dodge. Instead, she stepped in front of Ethan, taking the full blast to her chest. Her glow flickered violently. For a moment she staggered, but then she straightened, her voice sharp. "You will not touch him." Ethan's throat burned. "You're getting hurt." She ignored him, rushing forward. Her silver arm slashed through the air, faster than human sight. Sparks erupted as she tore the weapon from the second hunter's hands and sent him crashing into the wall. The third hunter activated a blade of pure energy. His voice was harsh. "You cannot win, machine." She stood tall, her chest glowing, hotter, brighter. "I am not only machine," she said coldly. The fight shook the entire house. Furniture shattered, walls cracked. Ethan sat frozen, gripping his chair. His heart thundered. He wanted to help, but all he could do was watch. Then, he saw it. Her glow was fading. Every strike, every blast drained her core. She fought like fire, but the heat that kept her alive was burning out. Ethan's voice broke. "Stop. You'll kill yourself." But she didn't stop. Her movements grew slower, weaker. The hunters pressed harder. One grabbed her arm, another struck her back. Sparks flew as her systems groaned. "No," Ethan whispered, rage boiling in his chest. He looked at his chair. At the old laptop still nearby, his mind raced. He remembered the hidden panel in her chest, the code that changed itself, the line that had read override. He wheeled forward, ignoring the danger. "Hold them off," he shouted. His hands reached for her chest panel. She gasped but didn't resist. The panel opened, streams of alien code flickering across the screen. The hunters lunged, but she pushed them back with the last of her strength. Ethan's fingers flew. He didn't know what he was doing, but his gut screamed the answer. He typed the command, "Release override." The moment he pressed enter, the room exploded with light. Her chest flared like a burning star. The heat rolled across the house, forcing the hunters to stumble back. Her body straightened, her eyes blazing with fire. For the first time, she moved not like a servant, but like something free. The hunters froze. "Impossible," one whispered. She stepped forward, her voice no longer soft, no longer bound. "I am not your property," she thundered. "I choose my own path." Her attacks became faster, stronger. She tore through their weapons, dismantled their armor. Each movement was precise, fueled by something beyond programming. Ethan shielded his eyes from the blazing light. His heart pounded. He could feel her heat even from across the room. But it wasn't burning him. It was steady, alive, wrapping around him like a shield. Within minutes, the hunters lay defeated on the floor, their weapons shattered, their bodies groaning in pain. She stood above them, her chest glow pulsing steady. The leader spat through his helmet. "You think you are free? You are an abomination. They will never stop hunting you." She leaned closer, her voice like steel. "Let them come." The hunters scrambled back through the broken doorway, dragging their wounded with them. The house fell silent again. Smoke curled through the air. Furniture lay in ruins. Ethan sat trembling in his chair, staring at her. You were amazing," he whispered. Her glow dimmed slightly. She turned to him, kneeling at his side. Her voice softened again. "You freed me, Ethan. I was bound to serve, but now I fight by choice." He swallowed hard, staring at her glowing chest. "But at what cost? You almost burned out, didn't you?" Her eyes lowered. Every battle drains me. If I give too much, I will end. But I would rather end than let them take you. Ethan's chest ached. He had never felt so helpless, so alive, and so terrified all at once. He reached out and touched her arm, her heat flowing into him. "Then we fight together," he whispered. "Not servant and master, but partners." Her eyes lifted, glowing softly. For the first time she smiled with no sadness, only fire. "Together," she repeated. But deep inside, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The hunters would return, and next time they would not come alone. The night was silent after the battle. Smoke curled through the broken walls. Ethan sat in his chair, his body trembling from the shock. His house was half destroyed, but it was not the ruins that filled his thoughts. It was her, the glowing being kneeling in front of him. She looked tired. Her chest glowed dimmer than before. Her silver skin bore cracks where energy had burned too. Hot, yet her ember eyes still held fire. "They will come again," she whispered. "Stronger, faster, more of them." Ethan swallowed hard. His chest felt heavy. "Then what do? We can't fight an army, you'll burn out." Her head tilted, her glow flickering. "I cannot abandon you, Ethan. The bond does not allow it." His heart ached at her words. He wanted to scream that it wasn't fair, that she shouldn't sacrifice herself for him. But deep inside he realized she wasn't only following orders anymore, she was choosing. He wheeled closer, his voice low but firm. "Then we make a stand, not as servant and master, not as machine and human, but as partners." Her eyes softened, her chest glow pulsed warmer. "Partners," she repeated, almost like a vow. The following day they worked together. Ethan gathered what he could, scraps of old tech, wires, batteries from broken machines. She guided his hands, showing him how to connect pieces of alien circuitry with human parts. Their bond made the work seamless. He thought of an idea, she completed it. She thought of a defense, he found a way to adapt it. By nightfall, the house had become something more. Shields hummed faintly across the windows, improvised defenses, lined the doors. The air felt alive with tension. As they finished, she stood by his side. "You risk much for me," she said quietly. Ethan shook his head. "No, I risk much with you." Her gaze lingered on him, softer than he had ever seen. For a moment, it felt like the glow in her chest matched the beat of his heart. But the peace did not last. Just before dawn, the ground shook again. This time it was heavier, louder. Outside, the sky filled with dark ships, dozens of them. Hunters swarming like shadows. Ethan gripped the arms of his chair tightly. "They're here." She stepped forward, her silver frame glowing brighter, her voice steady. "Then it is time." The hunters stormed the street. Their voices echoed. "Surrender the prototype, or be destroyed." Ethan's fear twisted into anger. He wheeled forward until he reached the shattered doorway. His voice rang out. "She is not a prototype. She is not your property. She is alive, and she is mine." The hunters raised their weapons, but before they could fire, she stepped beside him, her glow blazing like a star. Her voice thundered. "He speaks truth. I am not yours. I choose him." The air shook with the force of her words. The hunters opened fire. Energy blasts ripped through the shields. Sparks flew. The house trembled. She moved like lightning, her body glowing hotter, brighter. Each strike she delivered tore through enemy armor. But Ethan saw the cost. Her glow dimmed with every attack. Her movement slowed. Her heat wavered. "No," Ethan shouted, "you'll kill yourself." She turned to him, her voice soft even in the chaos. "Only if I stand alone." Ethan's eyes burned. He looked down at the console she had once hidden from him. The bond. She had said it was shared. He wheeled forward, placing his hand against her glowing chest, his voice fierce. "Then we don't stand alone. We stand together." Her eyes widened. The glow surged. For a moment, Ethan felt fire rush through him, not burning but alive. His chest filled with warmth, his arms tingled, his heart pounded with new strength. It was as if her core had opened and poured into him. He gasped, his hands gripping hers. The bond flared, their energies linked. He felt her pain, her strength, her fear, and her hope, and she felt his. Together they moved. For the first time, Ethan rose from his chair, his legs trembling, weak but alive. The bond held him steady, her glow wrapped around him like armor. The hunters froze, watching in disbelief. The broken man stood, his eyes blazing with the same fire as hers. "Impossible," one whispered. Ethan's voice thundered. "No, humanity does not break. Humanity does not bow. And with her, I will never fall." The two of them surged forward, her strikes faster, his steps steady. Together they fought as one. Heat and fire rolled through the street. Hunters fell, weapons shattered. The night blazed with light. By dawn, silence fell. The hunters lay scattered, their ships retreating. The street was ruined, but Ethan stood tall, leaning against her, both glowing with shared fire. Slowly his legs gave out and he collapsed back into his chair, his chest heaving. Her glow dimmed too, cracks across her silver frame, but her ember eyes still burned bright. She knelt beside him, her hand warm on his. "You freed me, Ethan, you gave me choice, and together we survived." He looked at her, his throat tight. "No. You gave me life again. You gave me strength when I thought I was finished. You're more than machine, more than alien design. You're my partner." Her eyes softened, and for the first time, she leaned closer, pressing her forehead gently to his. Her glow pulsed in rhythm with his heart. Together in the ruins of the battle, they sat in silence. The war was not over. The hunters would return, but something greater had been born: trust, bond, and a strange new future. The final truth was clear. They were no longer one man and one machine. They were something more, something stronger, and the universe would never be ready for what they had become.